it is not quite do or die. I mean, actually, it might be do or die time. I don't know if you can sneak in at 2 and 3. I guess it would depend on the rest of the group, but they are 0-2 right now, I believe. Yes, I think that's correct. They're certainly... Yes, that is correct. They're 0-2 right now, which is not a good record for anybody counting at home. They'd love to pick up a win here and start to pick things up, but an 0-3 here would mean not quite out, but probably out, and it would not be good for them, that's for sure. I guess SKTT1 a little bit happier at 1-1 right now, I believe.
1 and 2, I believe.
1 and 2. Okay. So if they win here too, that would get them to 2 and 2. They'd maybe need one more match to get themselves over it, but I mean, both teams really kind of in. Not do or die. But
you're wrong. SKTT1 are 1 and 1.
Okay,
so
they're 1 and 1. Okay.
One impressive performance against Frost, and then the loss.
Yeah, and then of course, let me just double check here. EG are, yes, they're 0-2 currently. So an 0-3 here for EG would possibly mean the end of their tournament here. SK Telecom T1 might still be in this with a loss, but both teams would really love to pick up a win here and kind of continue their tournament in a more positive fashion. The bands were Twitch, Twisted Fate, and Kale there for Evil Geniuses, and Thresh, Nidalee, and Vi out there for SK.
You'll notice a certain bird is available. EG have actually already lost with Anivia this tournament, and Lux has actually been more the targeted band towards EG.
And kind of in that vein, there's a blocker pick there for SK Telecom. They pick up Lux not only for their mid player Suno, who in their win up against Frost actually played Lux to great effect there in that one. But it also does take that pick away there potentially from Frog. And you're right, the bird is open. Lux Volibear that picks up there for SK Telecom, as Jarvan goes in there as the first one for Evil Geniuses. Are you surprised to see Jarvan at all? Because it's likely going to be a jungle pick, right?
Jarvan just does so much, and I mean, I was reading Crepper's Ask Me Anything on Reddit, and it's basically talking about the shift in jungle from support junglers towards more carry junglers, i.e. you don't really play the Maokai, the Amumu's anymore. Jarvan's kind of a happy medium between a real carry jungler and, especially early game, into more of that support tank late game.
And I think if you're going to have to transition and get used to the new patch, Jarvan really suits Snoopy there in that sense, because he is the player that is known for really popularizing the support jungler role. It's one of his greatest strengths. He's known for his Maokai, he's known for his Amumu, and I think a lot of people identify that kind of in Season 3, that transition's been quite hard for EG. So I think Jarvan is kind of a good middle ground for the team here, but as you said, they have been struggling not just here in this tournament, and we'll see what they can do here. I do like this bottom lane from them though. Nice and aggressive here with Crepper on Leona and Varus in here as well. Another kind of new pick that we've seen a lot more of recently.
And that's a duo they've practiced a lot. Their Crepper is Leona, very, very well known. Yellow Pete, when he was leveling up in North America, when they were staying with CLGNA, played so many Varus games, and they play a lot of Varus. And it's a lovely, lovely CC shutdown combo there.
Yep. Combos nicely with any Jarvan ganks as well. In fact, those first 3 picks for Evil Geniuses have a ton of CC in them. I guess over on the other side, we've got Lulu Ezreal here. Pretty standard bottom lane here for SK Telecom. Lulu, a very popular support champion, does a lot of different things, most of them very well. And Ezreal, of course, kind of surprising how little Ezreal we've seen, actually, compared to how popular he is. But he almost always is good at this point. It just feels like no matter, they tried to nerf him, but he's still not going away. And Ezreal's still a very strong pick.
And when someone's picked Jarvan against you, you're always going to favor an AD carry with an escape. And in a difficult lane like Leona Varus, where on the blue side, Leona can get level 2 and all in quite effectively, I really do like the cleanse Ezreal pickup here, just to give yourself the defensive options to deal with the perceived pressure.
Yep, so last few picks here for EG are going to come out. Zed here is the pickup. Might be the case, and we need one more. They don't have very long though. Alright, so Zed top for Wicked, and Xerath in the mid here for Froggen. I believe Froggen has already played Xerath today.
He has, in a losing effort in the first game, but Zed is a super interesting pick for top lane here. It's not a champion that I was familiar with being in Wicked's champion pool, or not one of his mainstays for certain. He has been mixing it up. In fact, this last pick, which might be a Reapered, once again donning the Akali, is another champion that, another deeper pick that Wicked's been looking at here. He has played a lot of Akali recently, and Akali versus Zed might be the top lane matchup.
We could have Ninja versus Ninja, that's true. I mean, I didn't get to catch the game, unfortunately, of SK Telecom versus Frost, obviously, because we're over here on this stream, but this comp feels very similar to me, that what they would have played against Frost. From what I've heard, it seems to have a lot of the elements that were in that comp that SK Telecom played already to great success against CJ Frost.
It's just interesting to me. I mean, the one thing that, as a long-term fan here, I'm really excited for this Wicked versus Reaper matchup. I mean, two storied and very well-known top lanes.
Yep, two pretty aggressive players, two very experienced players as well, have shown lots of strength at different tournaments over the months and years. I mean, EG as an organization are obviously new to League of Legends. They're fairly well known in North America in general, but these players on their team have been playing for a very long time, and Rupert as well has a pretty long history of League of Legends at this point, even though he is a Korean player. And a lot of players on this team actually are much newer players, but he's assembled a pretty good bunch here, and we'll see what he can do against EG.
It's only really Bizuhan and Reaper that have been around the scene a long time,
yeah,
and then some of the more newer picks coming out in the rest of the lineup.
And you can tell too, because Reaper and Horo are bros. Like Bizuhan loves to gank his lane. He loves to get Reaper ahead. They play well together. They dive a lot together, and you can kind of tell that they're paired pretty closely. And it really does form the backbone for the team in a lot of different ways. But I have to say, the rest of SKT1 have really been impressing me, and I think a lot of people have identified someone that's been playing absolutely out of his mind this tournament, and that's Raven. Raven's been playing spectacularly well.
He's had the Twitch taken away from here, which, given his confidence in that champion, might be a good thing. I'm just really intrigued by this last pick of Akali because, I mean, look at the CC that comes out of the EG lineup here. Jarvan, Xerath, Varus, Leona all have different ways to deal with Akali. I guess it's just a pick for lane. I guess he just feels that he can snowball on top lane and roam from there. But or maybe we'll see a lane swap. Yeah, maybe we'll see Akali mid and then try a Leona side lane once again. I'm not sure.
Yeah, the laning...
A Lux side lane.
Yeah, the laning from SK Telecom has always been a little bit funky in many different ways. I mean, when we were first casting them, when they were qualifying for Cologne, and then when obviously everybody saw them at Cologne for their first ever IEM event, which they eventually won, it was a very impressive showing for their team, who was still actually quite new. It was they were doing a lot of funky things, and Reaper was essentially going to every lane that wasn't his. He didn't like top lane, apparently, was what the conclusion he came to.
Yeah, they would send mightily their former mid laner, even on champions like Twisted Fate 1v2, solo top, just to try and get Reaper a good matchup. And that's not uncommon when you have a star player on your team. I mean, Naj and Sword, right when they started, were very, very Magnan focused, and then we saw their genesis into just a complete team. SKT1, young team, have a long time to develop.
Yeah, and they've been playing pretty well so far this tournament. As I said, 1-1, a record they're not entirely unhappy with there, as Volibear's going to eat a shuriken. I have to say, I think I'm going to remember this tournament by the presence of Volibear, ultimately. Because almost every time we've seen him, he's been killing people.
Yeah, I mean, Volibear's had a great impression. Mostly yesterday, in fact, we've seen a Volibear really fall down today. So it shows that nothing is unbeatable just from the picks.
No, and we are going to start things with a lane swap here, actually. So Reaper's going to 1v2 with Akali, which is interesting to me. Looks like EG are actually looking for an invade here, but they are going to get spotted by that ward. But it looks like they're looking for a late invade. Oh, whoa. They're moving, okay. I guess SKT1 didn't want to fight 3v3 potentially. I mean, Lux is kind of near there as well, so...
They don't have their bottom lane matchup there, so I guess it was just a case of numbers, but it's... Yeah, I'm not sure what they're trying to accomplish. I guess they're looking for the invade.
Yeah, I mean, Volibear and Lulu now going to invade. I mean, it kind of works on both sides, right? You're going to have two champions to come in on the top side as well. In fact, Wicked here is just doing a little bit of poke damage, but it's going to be pretty difficult for him to steal away with that blue, and Snoopy does pick up that one, although has to use Smite as a result. But it looks like it's just going to be a trade here for the most part, and there we are. A Smite used there by Volibear on that blue buff is going to pick it up for him, and pretty much a trade there in terms of jungle buffs. But I am super interested to see what happens here in bottom lane, because, I mean, I know SKT1 are known for some of their pretty unique laning, but this feels like a bit of a stretch to me, potentially. I don't know how Akali's going to do against Leona plus Varus.
Yeah, I mean, 45 base damage on that Q is her ranged last hitting ability. Leona's just going to stand here and zone, as Creppo is very clearly showing. I guess the one thing she does have is the ability to go untargetable when she hits level 2, which might hurt a really early gank, but... I mean, we've seen 1v2 Evelyn, and that kind of worked. She kind of had wave clear. This seems like even more of a stretch than that.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe Reaper just likes a challenge, who knows? But he's going to struggle here a little bit. As you can see, Yellow Pete is trying to deny as much as possible. Whereas top lane, I think we've got Well, not right now. They were pushing before, and now, of course, when I go up here, they trick me, but we've got kind of an interesting mix of wave control here from SKTT1. I mean, Zed here, not horrible in this situation. Certainly has the ability to creep waves pretty quickly, especially once he has all his abilities. Certainly can poke from range as well the shurikens to get CS, so I think they want to push here in top lane, SK Telecom, but I guess we'll find out. This is some weird landing, and Reaper now down the bottom. It's exactly the problem I thought they might have, but Leona there gets a good stun, and Akali almost dying there at level 1, as level 3 and level 2, level 3 Varus and level 2 Leona going down the bottom lane.
Yeah, and level 1 Akali here, I mean, she's got maybe 2 minions experience here because of the Leona zone.
Yeah, okay, finally the first CS comes out. Able to mark up the assassin, one of the nearby creeps. I mean, wants the range creep there, but it's too dangerous. Bizzlehunt's gonna come here. He's able to flash over. In fact, if they get too close, then we could see something pretty dramatic happen with the Volibear flip under tower, but they gotta be careful here. And in fact, Volibear just shows himself. He's like, alright, I need to be a presence here in this lane, because this is just not gonna work out for Akali. And we're gonna have a bit of babysitting here, and finally Akali's getting an experience range. I guess Zed, on the other hand, is now level 4. Which is a big difference compared to the current level 2 for Akali.
It's just such a strange force, obviously Snoopy coming into mid lane here, because even in a situation where Akali finally ekes out 6 and Volibear comes to gank, the amount of CC engage and disengage on EG, they will always make the runnings in this bot lane with the Leona Varus combo.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they just didn't really want to play against it with their duo lane, but I think it may be hurting SKT1 more than it would their duo lane, but who knows? I mean, as I said, Lulu generally is good at pushing down the turrets. It's actually not really been able to do it this time, unfortunately. Zed is really just able to power farm these waves pretty effectively. I mean, Wicked's actually leveling his shurikens in this situation. Do you agree with that here? Do you think you want the ranged ability in this situation, or think you might as well just eat it and go for Shadow Slash and be able to just completely decimate creep waves?
I think it's hard to say. I mean, the Shadow Slash Max would make him better at CSing in this situation, pushing back under the turret, but if the enemy team's not looking to push your lane, then taking shurikens for long-range farm is probably actually the better choice here. You know, when they're freezing, that's when you want to put points in Q to try and eke out any CS you can. When they're pushing, you want E to be able to push back.
Yeah, that's a good point. And he may even just kind of, mix the levels up, although now that I say that, he's at level 5 and has 3 points in. So I think he's kind of committed to shurikens here at this point. But you're right, I think it makes a lot of sense with the way SKTT1 were trying to play that lane. And we're not going to have early towers here, but just a lot of kind of denying and wave control here. And it's certainly hurting Akali more than Zed at this point. Zed is 10 CS and counting ahead of Akali, and Bizzlehunt's still down here just trying to do a bit of babysitting. In fact, the jungler is a higher level than Reaper right now, which is kind of a testament to how much zoning's happening. Frogger in the mid.
No kills down. I mean, the gold is even. 100 gold in it at this point. Which, given the Akali 1v2 situation, they'll take a gold lead of just minimal here, because Akali scales so well with levels as well that to have her completely hung out to dry, it's just really, really strange to me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Zed has not really been able to use his red pot all that effectively here. I mean, it would have been kind of funny to see Zed and Akali go at it tooth and nail. Ooh, interesting. Reaper just, walks in there. Realizes he's gone a little bit too far. Gets flash stunned though. And thankfully, Varus does not have his ultimate, but it might not matter here. The damage will come in. Crepo doing the tower dive there and a nice piercing arrow. But not going to be quite enough damage. And Reaper almost feels very calculated on that one, but just kind of walked out. Was like, okay, maybe we'll get a CS. It's like, oh, you're coming. I'll have to Twilight Shroud now. Oh man. Actually trying to dodge Froggen now as well. Reaper playing very well here with his W, but does go down there to Froggen, unfortunately. Just
Reaper deserved better with those drinks.
Oh man.
There's the answering kill.
Nice snipe there from Suno, and the top turret goes down. So, I mean, Reaper did a really, really good job there to stay alive, and kind of, I think, was a little bit too keen for that tower dive. Maybe the Shroud was about to run out and it wasn't going to matter, but Akali could have waited to poke ahead a little bit longer, and maybe
if they can trade that eventual kill, that kind of inevitable kill on Reaper for a turret, blue buff steal, and a counter kill, it's great. Oh, though, Suno's caught out here.
Suno, he's got to just dodge the stun, but does flash over the wall there. So nice work there from Lux. Knew the mage change was on, just waited till the last second, because of course Jarvan's combo was down, that's what initiated onto Lux. In fact, in mid lane we've got 3 people from SKTT1 rotated down. They've taken out the top turret. They're looking to do a little bit of pressure here onto mid, but Varus already present. Looks like they're going to be able to clear this out pretty easily. But you're right. I mean, a trade there, given what is happening to Reaper, is probably they're probably pretty happy with. And Reaper's coming back here. I mean, they might be swapping mid here. It'd be kind of weird to see Lux go off. Or maybe they'll just go back up top and harass Zed some more. But Akali's staying here in lane, and thankfully with Varus out of the picture, Reaper's going to get some very, very valuable experience and possibly some CS here as well.
Yeah, look, he's still, only just halfway to level 4. Basically, full level behind the support.
Which is a lot. Zenith played, they're going to land as well. Crepper, a complete sniper on those. The red, the pink ward down there as well, and Yellow Pete a bit unfortunate. Just missed his ultimate there onto Akali, which might have converted that kill. But I mean, this lane is really punishing for a champion that can't just CS very effectively from range, because one Leona stun is all it needs for about 2 more Leona stuns to come out, and then there's Varus ultimate on top of that as well. And you can see Yellow Pete's still just trying to deny Akali as much as possible. In fact, Reaper's walked off to the jungle now, just to try and take.
He did walk through a ward, so they could have instantly tried to push there, but they just want to hold this lane for as long as possible. They want to get to 20 minutes. Maybe the gold will be even, but there won't be any gold in Akali's pocket.
Yeah. And we saw, the effective levels on mage champions, on burst champions. It really hurts them because their abilities definitely scale there. I mean, we saw with Nexus versus SK how Kassadin, despite having plenty of kills and plenty of gold, just was still 2 levels behind, the highest levels in the game. And that really, really hurt Ocelot's Kassadin in that game. I mean, Reaper, even if he does manage to get, some kills here, and he actually has a red potion, interestingly enough. I guess that helps if he gets dived, and he can maybe turn around to gank if Volibear or Lux comes down again for the extra damage. But yeah, Reaper is hurting here. Being short on gold and buying a consumable is, at the end of the day, unfortunately, just kind of dead money. And EG here with all this control, it's going to take Dragon. I mean, part of the reason, as you've said before, Papa, that you don't see people stay in top lane like this is because you lose Dragon control.
Well, at the end of the day, with this Akali situation, Akali can't 1v1 Zed 2 levels, 2.5 levels behind, and they would not be able to contest for Dragon. So they'll take turret damage here. Yeah,
and they actually might even take the tier 2. Zed trying to... I mean, Wicked's thinking about it, but he's like, I don't really want to go in 1v3. In fact, they are going to get the tier 2 here. Wicked comes in, but he's too late to stop anything, and Snoopy just can't respond either. So let's get tier 2-1, take out a turret. They're actually 2-0 right now in turrets, although I think the bottom turret's going to go down here. In fact, it most certainly will here, as they pick up their first turret of the game, getting the bot out of turret. I wonder where the dual lane for SK tier 2-1's going now, though. It looks like they are going bottom at the end of the day. Alright, so I don't know what Akali's going to do, because Reaper just has nowhere to farm.
I think this seems to be the adaptation, as they used to leave Mightily out to dry it. I mean, from this game at least, it looks like Reaper is the one who's taking on the chin here. They obviously valued the Akali pick for team comp reasons, but they're certainly not giving him much chance to succeed here.
No. I mean, everybody else is doing just fine. Ezreal slightly up on CS here. Lux actually slightly ahead as well, though not by much. The jungle is more or less even in terms of gold as well, but yeah, you're right. Poor Reaper just completely hung out here. And Zed was having a bit of trouble early on, and Wicked's finding some farm here and there, but has managed to pick up a lot more gold than Akali. In fact, checking the gold values here, yeah, Akali's almost 1,000 gold behind. Reaper's actually
justing 6 at 11.5 minutes.
Yeah, has resorted to jungling there to try and pick up some CS, and the dual lane's back here for EG. Reaper cannot be happy about this at all. I mean, he kind of put it on himself here for whatever reason, but I don't know. I don't see it. Not yet, anyway. But
Leona's holding a pink ward here. They're just going to straight up dive him.
Yep, they've got everything ready. Just one Varasolt's all they're going to need. And there it is. Chain of Corruption going down. The stun there follows up as well. The pink ward out in there. Solar Flare, and what a beautifully executed dive there. Reaper actually did a nice job trying to do some damage to Yellow Pete, but couldn't get enough done there. And nice call. EG with a very nice dive there.
It's just academic. I mean, the fact that he was holding a pink ward meant there's just nowhere to juke to. They're too far ahead in items and gold and everything. And Reaper, 29 CS, level 6, in the solo lane at 12 minutes. Really on life support here. And the gold lead doesn't do justice for just how far a snowball champion like Akali is behind.
Yeah. And EG, to their credit, they're getting towers out of this as well. It's not just that they're, picking on Akali and keeping her down and getting some gold out of that kill. Easily able to convert that outer turret as well. I mean, poor Volley's just not really had any presence at this point. And Beezlehunt's level 7 right now. Deathmark actually going out onto Volibear, who's running back towards his team now. I don't think he thought Zed was going to do that, but afraid of Jarvan's presence, I guess. Froggen rotating down as well could have made that a bit of a problem, but that was a very weird ult there from Zed, but I guess he just wanted to make sure Volibear got out of his way. But Volley, I mean, he's a great ganker, we all know it, but he's not been able to get anything going this game, unfortunately, in terms of ganks at least.
Yeah, if anything, he was very vital in relieving pressure for Akali, but not enough in succeeding her any window back into the game.
Yeah, I mean, if SKT1 can hold on from here and they leave Reaper alone, then things will get better. But I don't think EG are planning on, just turtling up 5v4 at this point, because that's essentially what is happening right now. Reaper just cannot really fight. He needs a lot of assistance. Like, EG have to mess up, and SKT1 have to be there to capitalize. Which I just don't think EG are going to let happen here. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see the dual lane just go mid and try and take out the third and final outer turret here. But I mean, at least Akali now is getting some farm.
And it's always the common group thing with Akali that at least in team fights, even if she's behind one good team fight, she can get those resets on her ultimate and snowball from there. But that's predicated on Akali actually having the levels to be able to survive even the initial burst or trading damage in a team fight. She's melee, she's going to be up the front. And unless they can buy a lot of time here, she's going to be completely irrelevant in team fights.
Yeah, and even then, she still needs levels. There's no two ways about that. You scale, your abilities scale off your levels. You're ability-based champion, you need your levels. And what you described was ideally what happened to Ocelot in their game against the Nexus for SK, and even then that wasn't enough, because he was just still not doing enough damage. So even if that ideal situation does happen, Reaper, I mean, a lot of things have to align here for Akali to come back into this game. And SKT2, and they're going to play to do that. I mean, as I said, every other lane for them is actually pretty healthy. But poor Akali is not having fun at all. I mean, I guess to SKT1's credit, they've gotten... That tier 2 turret here is giving them a lot of vision towards the Baron area, which could come up in about 10 minutes, possibly, depending on what happens from here. And they look like they are going to do a bit more pushing. Behind back down
once they feel like they can group and actually team fight, you're correct in that they can put down an aggressive ward around the blue brush, the blue ward, so the blue buff brush, and around Baron, and they do have that Baron vision advantage. But again, they're not looking to group until Reaper is at some minimum level of strength there.
Yep. Bezahan, they know he's here. I mean, they certainly assume so because they've saw him before. But it looks like SKT1 just trying to push out here. Snooper's actually down here, just chilling. In fact, both junglers have been surprisingly passive to me this game. They've done a lot of farming. I've seen them every now and then looking for ganks, but certainly.
Look, Jarvan is a ganking jungle in anyone's books.
Snooper might actually come in here. I think he's just lining up the Cataclysm. Bezahan going in as well. He catches two of them, but Raven gets out there, uses his ultimate as well. But Wicked diving in there as well. Gets exhausted and will go down there as Volibear picks it up. Now Crepper getting flung back in there as well. And SKT1 completely turned that 3v3 on its head. And a quick 2-0 for them. Is getting it. I think Raven killing an assist there. Looks like Volibear got the other one. But Dragon as well going to come up here for SK Telecom. And I mean, Reaper up in the top is getting space here. That's exactly what he needs.
And look, he's building smartly. When you're behind, when you're in a position where you can't get as damage as you want, you pick up some health. He's got the Giant's Belt here. He can turn that into a Rylai's, which is a fantastically strong pick on Akali. He can just hold that and transition into his normal build if he starts getting gold. It's flexible. At least he has the health to make up for the natural stats he's not getting. He hasn't got those levels. He hasn't got the health per level that comes with leveling up. So get a Giant's Belt.
Yeah. And I mean, Reaper, he's actually built smart this entire time. Like, he started Cloth 5. He clearly knew what was going to happen on some level. But, I don't know, I'd love to ask him after the game and say, hey, win or lose, what were you thinking? You obviously, you were going to be behind. What was the plan after this? But if this keeps happening, SK Telecom are fine with this. They'll fight these little fights that they win. As long as Reaper gets space up here. I mean, now EG are pushing aggressively into the mid. In fact, Froggen takes a lot of damage and True Chop Barrage as well. Bezahan goes through the Hail of Arrows, gets slowed up there. And Xerath will be protected as a result. But they defend the turret there with all that range damage coming in. Suno, though, does have to back off at this point. Back at the fountain now. Just healing as Lux picks up Athene's Unholy Grail. And a Blasting Wand, actually. So, nice pick up there for Lux. Gonna make her life a lot better. Merc Trade's actually 2 up for Lux, which I didn't realize until before. But that's nice. It gets a lot of this CC. I mean, she doesn't want to get caught. She's a long-range champion with a lot of great utility and massive range on her spells. But I like that hit there from Suno. I think that's just intelligent insurance, I suppose.
Just an aside, you have the scoreboard names around the wrong way.
Oh, I do too. Goodness gracious me. I apologize. That must be confusing. That's weird too, because I checked before we started and tried to get them right.
No, things happen.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, chat. There we go.
So we finally have 2 teams grouped up here at the 18-minute mark.
Thankfully, the teams have their names written as well, so people know what's going on. But I apologize. But yeah, we got 5-man mid for both teams here. Starting a bit of an ARM. Frog in here just trying to perk out with Locus of Power plus Arcano Pulse. And Reapid, I think, if it was level 11, I think he might be feeling a bit better, but... I mean, he's key defending with his team. I guess EG have learned, hey, wait a second, they're letting Reapid catch back up here. We should be aggressive and try and force something. And Beezlehunt's going to try their Chain of Corruption onto Reapid. Beezlehunt going in as well. The rest of SKT1 trying to get up. And Cataclysm there as Yellow picks up the kill onto onto Varus. As Reapid there, Wild Growth not quite enough as Ignite picks him up. Snoopy, they're going to go down here. As Ezreal picks up that kill. And actually 2 for 2 the trade overall. As the double kill comes out for Ezreal.
2 for 3.
2 for 3, apologies. Oh, you're right, sorry. Creeper got killed in there as well. I mean, that was a lot of resources committed to Reapid there, who honestly was never going to do all that much in that team fight. And that Wild Growth, the shields out there from Lux kept Reapid alive long enough that I think EG may have focused the wrong target there, I'm not too sure.
It's hard not to focus the person who's diving onto your carry. In this case, it was a very underfed Akali, and look, Akali's going full health stacking here. It looks like it's probably going to be a Warmog's Rush. The base damage, if you can QR as Akali, is actually very respectable, especially against a Varus who doesn't have any health items, doesn't have any extra magic resist, but not a strong threat, clearly.
No, and that was still a trade there. I mean, it's more or less even with the tower going down there. As EG did manage to take out that outer turret in mid as well, but I mean, valuable experience there from Akali, potentially as well, and assist gold as well. Obviously, Reapid will be happy about. So this game's still... I think this game's actually getting to a more even point here, despite the fact that Akali is still very, very behind Zed. Or just behind everyone, actually.
Yeah, and while Zed has more gold and he's 50 CS up, he has a couple of assists, it's not like he's been able to be the difference here. He doesn't have the Bloodthirster up. He's just picked up the BF Soul, which will be a massive jump in damage, but both the 1v2s hurting for the lane swap, clearly.
Yep, which is kind of as expected, but I think Reapid has played a lot more catch-up than Zed here, and given how behind Akali was, it's impressive here. But again, the gold difference between the two teams is actually very, very small, so if Akali doesn't have that much gold, which is definitely the case, then the rest of our teammates are probably pretty happy with what's going on, and you can see that both Lux and Ezreal are actually doing pretty nicely on items here. I'm just going to tab over to the gold. Just checking out what's going on in mid. Lux is slightly ahead, and Ezreal slightly ahead as well, so I guess the other two...
It's pretty balanced. I guess Lulu, the one profiting most from global objectives here.
Yeah, picks up in Oracles.
600 gold ahead of her contemporary.
Which is nice. It's about an Oracles. Luna's actually... I love his Doran shields from, especially the melee supports. This is such a great cost-effective item. Especially for someone like Leona or Tarek who generally gets in there. Even for the squishier supports, If you're in lane, if you can get it actually at a convenient spot, it's great in lane because you're able to take so many more, auto attacks from an AD carry.
It stacks well with the defensive mastery that blocks the basic damage as well. So it's a nice natural pickup if you have the right gold value.
Yeah. Looks like EG continuing to push out here. In fact, Ezreal's down the bottom lane. Looks like he's recalling there, but I think they're going to lose this tier 2 turret. Lux is trying to poke out there, actually gets on the Crepo. Maybe going to throw it a little bit more damage, but let's get Tier 2 and just buying time for Ezreal to come back now. And looks like Raven will make it back in time.
Now, Reapid has gone all the way full tank Akali here, picked up the Warmogs.
I guess just hoping to live long enough to get enough kills or assists in the next fight. I mean, as you said, Reapid is building smart given the situation. But I don't know how that converts to the team fights. Frog, and they're going to get flipped in there by Beezlehunt, but gets immediately demolished as Snoopy dives in there. Cataclysm there will cut a couple of members of SKT1 off, but not quite enough there. And Reapid dives in there, throws down the Twilight Shroud. Still diving in there onto Frog and trying to pick up the kill. But again, it does not have all that damage. The shields are absolutely massive there onto Reapid. And that's going to be yet another kill as Zed goes down. And Lux, they're doing so much work with those shields. Now Crepo in trouble as Raven goes over the top. And the ace there for SKT1. Beezlehunt's noble leap there as Volibear to flip Froggen in. He got obliterated, but SKT1 didn't even matter apparently because they cleaned house in that team fight.
And the effective health pickup from Reaper, he lived so long that he was able to get so many resets on his ultimate that he did do respectable damage there. And look, Lux and Ezreal, they don't do respectable damage yet. They are massive.
Yeah, I mean, Lux's utility is just insane, and it really showed there as well. I mean, both Lulu and Lux actually are really nice support pair, and they're able to protect Akali long enough, but that when Reaper did dive in like that, they had enough to still actually win through that team fight and keep everybody very healthy and happy. And as you said, they did plenty of damage on top of it as well. And I think they're going to get both major jungle camps here as well, as Baron has already gone down. And I think Volibear is going to slowly but surely solo this dragon, although EG might get wind of this and take it out.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic that it feels like Akali is fulfilling the assassin role here better than Zed, despite the obvious gold discrepancy. The fact that Zed, he had the BF sword, he had the attack damage completed, and Bizarre has to back out from Dragon here. Even against a full CC team like he's facing, it feels like Reaper's doing more than Wicked.
Yeah, and I'd love to go back to that team fight and just dissect exactly what happened, but that was a crazy good fight for SK Telecom. And as we keep saying, Reaper is built well here, so his teammates are certainly, kind of pulling the weight that he couldn't quite carry with the landing situation. And I mean, EG, they were looking aggressive, kind of trying to push down, trying to, really make something happen in the game, recognizing their position. They were in a decent spot, they were slightly ahead, they kind of had the right place in this game to be aggressive. But right now, SKTT1 are all about just pushing right now. They've got the Baron buff, they've got a bit of a gold advantage here, and I think EG are a bit of a loss here at what to do, because they've got a lot of mid-game power. I mean, I don't even know what their team comp is looking for here, because they've got poke in Varus and Xerath, they've got good initiation with Jarvan and Leona, and they've got an assassin on Zed. I mean, I guess you just pick a key target and throw out the damage, but SKT1 are just not letting anybody die.
Yeah, it was only Volibear who suicided him just to get the engage that led in the last fight.
I mean, they ideally want Raven or Lux, but they're both staying well and truly at arm's length here and just letting, the tank clan, I guess, at this point is Akali and Volibear. And there's a chain of corruption out onto Bizahan. Reaper getting jumped on as well. Volley going to take quite a bit of damage, but Snoopy gets flipped back in there and just gets destroyed as Raven picks that up. And now it looks like Reaper's still chasing in the back there, picking up Frog, and he will get it there. Still very tanky as the Warmogs goes down. And there's the Twilight Shroud. I think they can see him. Yes, they can with the pink ward down. And Yellow Pete's going to pick that up. But they'll take 2 for 1 plus a tower any day of the week. And Reaper, just tanked so much there. He was, 1v3 and the tower there to dive to kill Xerath?
And secure his team the turret, like you pointed out.
Let's get TT1. They're not done pushing. Still going in here. Creeper there gets erased by Suno's ultimate. And Lux, a massive power jump now at that rabbit on Zethcap. And it's going to be an inhibitor here for SK Telecom T1. EG, they were hoping for a win here, but they may not get it. And things looking grim now. I think 8,000 or 7,000 gold in the lead for SK TT1. And that inhibitor and the Baron buff still on them as well.
The genius here is that Xerath's built, obviously, for damage here. He's very, very squishy. Akali has, however, built just complete health, resist, a token amount of AP. But because of her baseline, she can jump onto Xerath, force Xerath to sacrifice his own positioning, or legitimately die. Oh, we could see the counter kill coming up here.
There it is. Wicked collects the 500 gold that he's very happy to get, but poor Yellow Pete there, getting 1v1 by Ezreal.
Akali is dealing with Froggen in team fights, and that's worrying.
It is. I mean, again, given how poor Reaper's landing phase went. But he is able to shut down Froggen, which we saw in the last fight. And Froggen, if he's busy trying to keep a ninja off him, he's not going to be, sitting back doing a lot of damage at range with Locus of Power plus Arcano Pulse. I mean, Akali's, as we saw, just soaked so much damage with that Warmogs. And
if he's forced to use his damage on the Akali diving him, I think SKTT1 have the massive damage advantage, and their backline, the backline of Lux and Ezreal, doing fantastically this game. He just can't afford to use any resources at all on Akali, but Akali's in his face.
Yeah, and Akali, she's not doing 0 damage, like it's not that much, but given that Xerath doesn't have any defensive items here, I mean, some extra armor is nice from his passive, but Xerath is still a pretty squishy champion, and Akali, the damage will add up.
Yeah, she's just gone back, finally picked up a big ability power item, the 80 AP on Lania's Large Rod. Gonna finish off Zhonya's first, you'd have to think here. And then, you'd be even more of a threat with the ability to use stasis.
Yeah. And what we were talking about before, just her ability to get in and assassinate and just interrupt, get in the backline and really just meddle with, the carries, meddle with Froggen. It's exemplified by the ability of Zhonya's there. And now Reaper even has actually some damage at this point as well with a big spike in AP. And he's getting tankier and tankier. I mean, it's kind of weird to think about, but it's almost Bruiser Akali here as Starlast kind of flash out of the way. Make sure not to get himself killed. No ultimates there burned by EG, but I think that's smart. Just force Starlast to flash away there and burn that summon.
It would have been too much credit to call it Bruiser Akali until he just finished the initial large ride, as it was just a straight up tank Akali before then.
For sure. But now that seems what Reapid's kind of going for. I mean, before, as I said, he was part of the tank line. At least now he's doing a little bit more damage. Akali actually coming around the side here. Reapid maybe looking to do some diving along with Volibear.
They're looking for a Lux binding on a key target here, and then the dive may be on.
Yep. Wow, that is a lot of people behind there. Lux just poking them out. In fact, they're maybe just going to get this tower, and then they can engage. They've got to be careful though. I mean, Reapid, even if Reapid gets caught here, 1v5, I think he's probably going to soak enough damage. And you know what? He's ready to engage if they want to, but SKT1 is going to take that turret. Zed there actually jumping on there, but so much health for that Akali. I mean, EG, they have Xerath. He's a pretty good wave clearer, something that Froggen is certainly known for.
No blue buff available though compared to Lux here. With the 40% CDR, blue buff available. And it shows Siege is undeniable.
Yeah. Lux almost hit light binding there into Froggen as well. I don't quite know if Lux does enough damage, but it'll be pretty close to killing either of the squishies here with their full combo.
You know, Yellow Pete's at half healthy. If they engage a turret dive, he's going to have some evasive maneuvers to stay alive.
If he gets tagged by Lucian Singularity, I'm pretty sure Final Spark kills him. True Chop Raj in there as well. They're just trying to poke. It's working here. I mean, as you said, the Siege is very good. The ult just missing there onto Suno. And then Final Spark comes out. I think just managed to not quite tag Yellow Pete. But SKT1, they don't mind. They've poked him enough. They're going to move in here. Reapid actually going in, trying to disrupt them. And the rest of SKT1 just hanging out. Reapid getting caught under this turret now, but actually beautiful dive there onto Froggen. Uses his ult to get across there. And again, just buying time for his team, tanking so much damage. Now goes back in there. The tower goes down for SKT1. Buizelhan goes in, that takes quite a bit of damage, but he's passive procking off there as Wicked, they're trying to get in, gets picked off there by Raven. As Final Spark doesn't quite do the damage there. Ezreal had enough to do. Buizelhan is going to go down here to Crepo, who manages to find a stun, but pays for it with his life. Yellow Pete goes down there as well. 3 for 2 is the trade there as the tank line finally goes down. But a triple kill in there for Raven is going to make a second inhibitor fall. And SKT1 looking like they could keep the tournament alive.
And look at what the creep wave has been doing top lane page to time.
It ate a couple of towers and almost killed this inhibitor. 3 inhibitors down now for EG.
They're playing it safe.
Sure. I mean, I don't blame them. And if any team can do this, maybe it's EG, because they've been in this spot before. But as I said, I don't think SKT1 are a team that's going to let something like that happen. And even with Xerath and all his wave clear, I mean, he's not going to be able to get a blue buff. He's not going to be able to spam. He hasn't built mana items. He's built damage, and I don't think EG can turtle this one. I mean, maybe, but
I think EG definitely have the wave clear advantage. But I mean, SKT1 have built so tanky here that once one of those once one of those light bindings hits a target, they can dive with reckless abandon.
Yeah, and Suno's play on Lux has just been spectacular. I think it was a really good pick for SKT1 to get Lux early on here, and they picked it early as well. It was in their first round of picks. I mean, Suno's Lux has just been such a nuisance in these sieges. Not to mention those shields protecting who at the time was just a Warmog's Reapid. Reapid now finished Zhonya's and got a Negatron cloak as well, so really moving into Bruiser territory now for Akali. Very, very tanky. Has also, by the way, caught up on Gold and Zed. I mean, it's not that surprising given all the global gold that Reapid's gotten here, but given where Akali started in this game, I think Reapid's got to be pretty happy with where he's going to finish. And EG are trying something pretty Hail Mary-ish here. They're camping a brush very close to their base with a pink.
They got to make something happen, pastry time. I mean, with 3 inhibitors down, they can't defend the inner towers. One inhibitor respawns here. That's a great bait, but no, they see where the creep waves are. The split second chance to do that's gone.
Yeah, I mean, I guess SKT1 was just dawdling for too long. Didn't walk close enough to the bush, and now what is likely the last push of the game is coming out here. I mean, we'll see if EG can defend. They'll definitely want to hold on to this inhibitor if they can. But I mean, there's just so much room. Crepa gets flung back in there. Light Binding will miss in there. Solarfire actually very nicely landing onto Starlight, so you can't quite follow up. But Buzelhana Reaper is tanking so much damage. Raven here going to get jumped on as well. Zed tries to do the assassination, but Wild Growth coming out there as well. Does get the kill finally onto Ezreal. But Starlas and Suno still alive. Reaper's still in here as well. In fact, Buzelhana is coming in now. Slows up onto Snoopy. Wicked now trying to get back in there as Suno picks up the kill on Varus. And AD carries traded here. Crepa already dead as well. Wicked quite low. Reaper still looking to dive in here. I think SKTT1 may just kind of attrition them out here in terms of tankiness and gold lead.
It was a fantastic snipe over the wall from Suno. He calculated his ranges fantastically. Picked up the counter kill on Yellow Pete. I thought with Raven down they might be forced to back off, but they can keep the pressure now that Yellow Pete's down as well.
And they don't really have a good way to auto-attack these turrets, unfortunately, but they'll get the job done eventually. I mean, Suno's got...
You say that, but Lulu and Lux at least have ranged auto attacks.
That's true. Ghost Stardust. It'll take a little while without Raven, but they'll get it done. Stun there onto Buzelhan. Froggen is trying to kill a very tanky Volibear there as Starlight slashes out. And looks like SKT1 have to back out for now, but they still got 3 inhibitors down and did quite a bit of damage to those Nexus turrets, which will regenerate, but EG is still stuck in their base at this point.
It's just so hard to process this game, Pastry Time. I mean, at one point in this game, Reaper was effectively a non-entity. He was so behind. 11.5 minutes to hit level 6 here. But eventually there became the point where he was able to happily farm, and he finally grouped at his team at level 11. And if you put so much effort into denying an Akali, I feel like things should be forced before Akali is able to kind of limp towards level 11 with a bit of tanky items.
Yeah, and I mean, as I said, the rest of the team were doing great. I mean, look at the scores here for Raven and Suno. 11, 2, and 8 for Ezreal, who's just been killing people left, right, and center. Suno is all 5-0-12 on Lux. It's been such great glue here in this team comp for SKT1. That's one of Lux's biggest advantages. She's done so many great tools and still has good damage to back it up as well. She kind of feels to me like Super Orianna, to be perfectly honest with you. Or maybe more aggressive Orianna is a bit more fitting. Just Orianna with slightly more burst instead of utility. But if you're poking, if you're team fighting, if you just want to burst somebody down, catch them out with a snare. I mean, Lux has so many good tools and a great bit of burst on top of that. But Suno's play here is
looking like the last stand coming out from EG here, but the Varus ultimate whiffs once more.
Yeah, Xena's Blade whiffs as well there for Crepo. Another inhibitor going to fall for a second time here as the bottom one goes down. SKT1, they don't really have to do anything but wait here. They'll eventually get the turrets. Probably actually throw out his ultimate there, but it's not on that long a cooldown. SKT1 just trying to take out the inhibitors, be very, very methodical here.
It's insurance, because if they fail a team fight here, they'll still have 3 inhibitors down.
Yeah. And they can dive when they see fit if they want to, but Life Binding out. Looks like Solarflare coming out as well, but it doesn't quite hit anybody. I don't know who Crepel's aiming for. Oh, it looks like Deathmark coming out on here. Wild Growth activated on Lux as well. They're trying to dive onto Suno, but Wicked polymorph beautifully there by Starlux and then picked off. And Lulu actually takes out a turret there as the Nexus one goes down. Reaper there diving in as Froggen goes down. Snoopy falling in there as well. And Yellow Pit, the only one left alive, going to take quite a bit of damage here, but it doesn't matter. He will stay alive, but the Nexus falls there, and EG still without a win.